I'm Mario Schwartz along with Rachel Galligan, and welcome to the Winsidr show where it's all about the W. This episode, we sat down with Vickie Johnson, the Dallas Wings head coach. If you like our show, please consider joining our Patreon community, patreon.com/Winsidr. For less than a cup of coffee a month, you can directly show support for the hard work we do covering the W. And don't forget to see our amazing staff's written content over at winsidr.com. That's winsidr.com. While you're over there, we have the Overseas Tracker. It's live now. You can see where your favorite WNBA players are playing overseas all in one place. And make sure to keep up to date on all the free agency moves and transactions with our free agency tracker, all live on winsidr.com. Very excited for this episode. We welcome back to the show Dallas Wings head coach Vickie Johnson to discuss not only her Dallas Wings, but also Team USA national team. Coach, how you doing? It's been a little bit since we last spoke. How you doing? What's going on? What are you up to these days?
I'm doing great. Trying to stay busy with the Dallas Wings and also with USA Basketball. It's keeping me pretty busy and just doing the interviews, trying to get out in the community and bring fan support to us.
Hey, I hear it. But so just for the fans who don't know, Team USA, the national women's basketball team, is doing a little camp in San Antonio.
Yeah.
Obviously, you have a great connection to San Antonio, being a former head coach there and playing there. What's it like being back there? And, there's a lot going on in San Antonio these days. And what's it like being a coach for the national team?
It's a great feeling. I actually leave tomorrow for USA Basketball, and I'll be there for 8 days. Uh, I'm always happy to go back to San Antonio. When I left New York as a free agent, I made San Antonio my second stop as a player. I finished my career there. And then I started my coaching career in San Antonio and had the opportunity to be the head coach in 2017. And when the team was sold to Las Vegas, I continue my journey with them. Now being back in Texas with the Dallas Wings and having an opportunity to be a part of USA Basketball, it's a great honor to be able to go back to San Antonio and where I started my coaching career. Now I go back as a head coach of not only the Dallas Wings, but also part of the USA Basketball coaching staff. It's great. It's a great time for women's basketball. The NCAA tournament is there. So great basketball. Elite 32 starts, I think, today, if I'm not mistaken. And so I'm excited to get there and watch great basketball and also be a part of USA Basketball. Like these are the best players in the world. To be able to be on the court with them and to share some nuggets and to get to know them as individuals is a great honor for me as well.
That's really cool. And I have to ask, because you have so many ties to Texas, have you found a deli in Texas that is going to make the VJ sandwich in Texas? And it has to be bigger because it's in Texas. So
It's in Texas. Not yet, but hopefully in time I will. I spoke about that and they said they do barbecue here, so they can make the best nachos here. So I'm looking forward to that as well.
love it.
You're gonna have to keep us posted.
Okay, I will. I
We're gonna
will.
be all over that one, Coach. I want to ask about the, like you said, the Team USA, the coaching staff. I'm always interested. Like, what is it like to be on a staff with such incredible coaches? I mean, and how does that dynamic work?
It's amazing. Don Staley is the head coach for the national team. Sherry is one of the assistant, and Jennifer Rizzotti, and Dan is also a assistant as well. And I'm one of the court coaches. I kind of assist them in that area. In 2019, they called me. USA Basketball called me and asked me, did I want to be a part of it? And course, I was like, yes, of course I do.
Right? Like, does anybody say no to that
Right. To
question?
be a part of the USA national team, to be around the best players in the world, to be around some of the best coaches, it was an honor for me. So to be able to be a part of um, preparing them to get ready to go to the Olympics is huge for me. I take great pride in that as well. I had opportunity to not only just uh, assist them, but also to be a big part of it. You know, I did the scouting reports when we went on tour last year. 2019 and 2020 before COVID, and I did all the scouting reports, and they trusted me. They trusted me in that area, uh, and I took great pride in making sure they was prepared. And we did a great job, and now we qualify for the Olympics.
When you're doing the scouting reports, was that for the college tour that you guys did, or when you were playing international teams?
Both, both. Dan Chevrolet was the lead coach, and Dan was her assistant. And I just wanted them to focus on that, the coaching part, and let me focus on the scouting report part. And so I volunteered to do all 14 scouting reports, uh, which was
Whew, good for you.
which was insane, but it was worth it. It was worth it. I wanted them to just focus on preparing our team, being ready, and I will prepare for the opponents.
Well, I'm sure Greg is happy that you have some great insight on a lot of some of these players that might be coming through the
Yes.
draft coming up. But I'm always curious about this because for the unknowing me who sits over here and goes, "Holy crap! Look at that coaching roster that you guys go in there." When I think of the players, I also think similarly about the coaches of like players looking and going, "Oh, that player, if you block off the left, they're going right in a pullback. If
Right.
I do that, things like that." Do you kind of see, because coaches I always think are big chess players. Do you kind of
For
see you
sure.
guys kind of playing a little bit of mental chess with each other, trying to pick each other's brains so you can have a little bit of a leg up come WNBA season?
Oh yeah, for sure. Especially me being a new coach.
Yeah.
Uh, they Cheryl Reeve, I love her to death. She tried to get me. She was like, "Okay, VJ, go ahead and teach your defense," and I was like, "Okay," and I was like, "No, no, I'm good." She wanted to get some nuggets,
Yep.
but yeah, it's a great opportunity. Cheryl is one of the amazing coaches in our league. Has won many championships, and so anytime I get a chance to talk to her about basketball, just about life, is an honor for me, and I always take advantage of that. And Dan, of course, Dan coached me in San Antonio and gave me my first coaching career in San Antonio. So I love him like a father. He has always been there for me through hard times, good times. So I'm truly blessed to have him in my life as a former coach and as a mentor.
I'm sure beating him would feel a little bit extra good. Just
Very much so.
saying.
Seattle, period.
There we go. There we go.
Coach, you recently just completed in my opinion, daunting task of your coaching staff.
Mhm.
That's always in my mind like one of the most important things. For any
Very important.
team, for any success of you. Why don't you take us through your staff, how it's comprised, what everybody brings to the table?
Um, I did a lot of interviews with different coaches, a variety of different style of coaches. Um, the biggest thing for me was getting um, coaches in that I could trust, that had a passion for women's basketball, understanding our league, somebody that really understood our league and saw the value in our players, not only as basketball players but as young ladies to be role models. So I chose. Also, I thought it was very important to put former players on my roster, on my coaching staff. So I chose Nicole Willingham. She played 10 years in the W. She's an undersized post player, fearless. Just listening to her story really moved me, and I understood. we connected in that area where I knew that nothing has ever been given to her. She had to work for everything, and so she take great pride in the W, playing in the W, being able to coach in the W. And most people don't know that um, she has head coaching experience as well. So I felt like she was a great choice for me, and for my team as well. And then we hired her. I hired her, and then I went to Kelly Schumacher. She played in the league as well. Um, she also coached with me in Las Vegas, so I know Kelly very well. So it was very important for me to get someone that I knew that kind of understood me as a person. She's very organized. She's very detailed. She's very passionate. She's another one that take pride in teaching young players, and also I feel like players can relate to her. I think Bella will benefit a great deal from her, being a former volleyball player and all that stuff, and Kelly as well. Kelly has a lot of insight on a lot of things, so I thought it was very important. And then my player development person, I wanted Tim. I wanted Coach Tim. I wanted him on my staff because he's so committed to um, basketball. He loves basketball. He was one of the first N1 players that started N1 street ball. So I know who he is as a person. I have been knowing him for a long time. His dedication to women's basketball, his love for women's basketball was huge for me, and I wanted a player development a player development coach to be available, and that's the biggest thing about Tim. He's always available when players have a bad night. He will be there. He'll go to the gym late night to shoot with them and help them through and talk them through whatever on their mind. So I wanted to build a coaching staff that not only walk these players in these walk the trail that these players are going in, but coaches that these players will respect, will understand, and that my coaching staff, we understand the players. We understand the sacrifices they go through. We understand the sacrifice they put their bodies through. We understand social media. We understand coming from a program where you're the star and now you're a part of the puzzle. Understanding how to fit in, how to play productive minutes, how to relate to the fans, and how to be role models on and off the court. So I think that was my biggest thing, picking my coaching staff, and I'm very pleased with it.
Yeah, first of all, I just gotta say the Dallas Wings were already, in my mind, one of the most fun teams to watch. The idea of Enrique and Satu and some of these other players being coached by someone who did and one is just mind blowing to me. Like I'm waiting for like the Enrique to throw the ball off the defender's head and then hit a half court three and do some crazy stuff like that. No pressure, no
No
pressure,
pressure, no
no
pressure.
pressure.
No,
But I am curious, and I always talk to head coaches about this, kind of how they decide how they want to delegate roles. I think it's maybe simplistic to say you do offense, you do defense, you do posts, you do guards. I'm curious to pick your brain into like what goes into your thought process because obviously you picked all of these people for your staff for more than just one reason. So how do you kind of say like this is what you're doing and this is what I'm doing and this is what you're doing?
well, I'm a little different. I want everybody to know offense, defense, player development, everything. It's our team. Yes, we have Kelly and Coach Kelly and Coach Lacole that's responsible for scouting reports and the opponents. But we meet every day, Monday through Thursday, and we talk about each team, their strength and their weaknesses, what we can do, the personnel and stuff like that. And this is an opportunity for us to just talk, so we all can be on the same page. Because I think it's very important to be on the same page So when any player come to us, as to my assistant coaches, they're able to talk about Minnesota, for example. They're able to talk about their offense, their defense, and we're all on the same page. So um, it's almost like I don't really fall into positions as well. Most people like you're the one, you're the two, you're the three. No, um, it's just we have five players out there. If somebody at the five position that can bring up the ball and initiate the offense, so be it. And it's the same on the coaching staff part of it. We're all responsible for putting our team in a position to win and bringing out the best in them on offense and defense and being prepared for our opponents.
Coach, how are you feeling about free agency? I mean, this year especially, but last couple, there's been so much movement, the new CBA. How are you feeling about just free agency overall, but also just kind of the moves you guys have been able to make so far in Dallas?
I love it. I love it. I think that free agency is huge, not only in women's sport, but in men's sport as well. I think I like the powerhouse. I like the marquee players or the big name players teaming up. It's more of a challenge for me, having a young team. But to see Gray go to Las Vegas and Candace Parker to go to Chicago, just to have an opportunity. She's from Chicago, and to spend her last couple of years in Chicago and play in front of her family and friends is huge. So I love it. I love the flexibility that the league has allowed these players to have. For me, it's huge too. I mean, for the last 5 years, out of the last 5 years, for 4 years, I have had the number one draft pick. So it's important for me to not only look at free agency, but also look at the graduation class, the college on the collegiate level of athletes coming into our league, and really finding the right fit for our team, and where we're trying to do and where we're trying to go and build. It's a foundation. It's a slow process, but it's going to be a well built foundation.
Something that I'm really curious about. Last time we had you on the show, really enjoyed the episode, and we touched on Arike's overseas growth and you kind of chatting with her. A player I've been honed in on and has just been absolutely crushing it overseas is Satu Sabli.
Oh yeah.
Um, have you had any discussions with her about her game? I mean, she's somebody who we always talk about this over at Winsidr, where we really feel that obviously, older vets can grow overseas also, but the amount of growth that we can see from players who maybe we have high expectations with in the W, but when they go overseas, they finally kind of get their sea legs, I like to call it. And Satu is one of those players where I saw flashes of it during her WNBA season, but not that consistency. But then overseas, I mean, mind blown MVP caliber player that I'm seeing, at least in my mind. Talk to me about Satu a little bit.
Right, she's an amazing athlete. Um, I think when they come, I think when people watch these young athletes play in college, play for the finals in April. At the end of April, now they come into the best league in the world, and it's almost like a shock because now you're playing against Satu is playing against Deladon, Asia Wilson, those type of players, Stewie, and so it takes them a while to kind of understand the game, the pace of the game, understand the feel of a new team, because you have to realize that they just spent 4 years with one team and on the college level where they were the best. So at the end of the WNBA season, you could see her growth, you could see her talent, and I think now I just carry over to overseas because this is her first year overseas. And by all means, I think she will be one of the elite young players in our league, and she will win many MVP award. I think, but it's just a process. It's a process, and I'm excited to have her back. I have talked to her many times overseas, and my expectations of her, and she takes the challenge. Not only her, but all my players. I have high expectation uh, They know their roles. They know their expectations before they even walk into training camp on April the 25th. So I'm excited for them to all be back. But the most important thing I told them last week is focus on your team overseas. You made a commitment, and your word is your bond. That's the only thing you have. And so finish the season the right way and play hard and respect your club team and go out with a bang.
I really like that because I mean, I'm not going to say that other coaches maybe say otherwise, but I think it's so important for these players to understand that your support for them is unwavering. And I think, it's easy for a coach to fall into the trap of saying, yeah, overseas, whatever, but you've been through that. You
Sure.
understand the trials and tribulations of that
It's
and the ups and downs of that and the importance of that.
it's
And which is why I've heard so many people rave about you being a player's coach. I'm very curious. I am not the smartest when it comes to NCAA basketball. All right. I tune in much later in the NCAA season than I should. Rachel gives me crap for it all the time and shames me publicly all the time for it. Um, but for me, I need a little bit of I need an off season, right?
right.
But but I put so much stock in the tournament in finally watching these players and watching their speed and watching, movement and things like
Mhm.
that and the different elements of their game. How much stock do you as a head coach truly put in the tournament versus what we've seen from them throughout the past however many years, tournament or not tournament?
Well, to be honest with you, I really put my stock into the NCAA tournament. It's like practice in the WNBA in a sense where you have to get up for practice, and tournament time is a new season, and it's about showing up. Showing up for that challenge. So I'm loving March Madness, loving the tournament. Uh, so yes, as far as watching them and really understanding who they are, the talent wise, and going against the Connecticut or say Louisville going against Connecticut. I want to see Evans. What did she do against some of the best
Hmm.
players or teams? And Connecticut does a great job of scouting, and so you're not going to be able to get to certain spots on the court, your normal spots. Now, how do you adjust to that? Because that's the WNBA. You have to learn how to adjust on the fly when you play against the best athlete, the best teams in the world. You know what I'm saying? So it's very important in that aspect of the talent wise. But for me, it's more about who they are as people.
Hmm.
Their character. Are they happy for their teammate? Are they a team player? When things don't go right, do they drop their head? If they're sitting on the bench, do they cheer on their teammate?
Hmm.
Is it bigger than them?
Yeah.
And that's what I look at the most. Are you working hard? And it's about you're not going. I mean, we do have some players on the college level that have the talent, but we have a lot of talent in the WBA. And so a lot of time, your hard work, you're willing to sacrifice for the betterment of the team is huge because you're playing on a team and you're not the star anymore. You're just a piece of the puzzle. And can you fit into that and into that puzzle? And will you be okay not being the star? So I look at more of those things than the talent wise, as far as like, because everybody can have a bad night. That's just
Hmm.
basketball.
Yeah.
But do you give up? Do you do other things than just scoring? If your thing is scoring, if you don't score, what else can you bring to the table?
Hmm.
And how can you lift your teammates up, and how can you make your teammate better?
Yeah, I mean, I'm a big believer that this time of year, especially now we're into the Sweet 16 and competition stage. I mean, it's as revealing as anything. So all the
Oh
things,
yeah, for sure.
I mean, whether it's on the court and off the court, I mean,
Yeah,
you're dealing with adversity, you're dealing with pressure. I mean, this
yeah, for
has to
sure.
be such an incredible time for you guys to just observe. Like, which kind of brings me to my next question. Coach, you've been around, you've been in different systems. There's a lot to talk about around this topic, but is there a positive, or what are the positives in your mind of not having to wear the double hat of coach and GM and just focusing on a coach role and having someone else sit in that GM spot? Kind of, what's your take on that, and what are the advantages of it?
I think I love it. At this stage in my career, I love it. I wouldn't say I would never want to be the GM.
Yeah,
But right now, I love being the head coach. The connection that Greg and I have here in Dallas is amazing. We communicate and we have one common goal, and that's to build a foundation here,
awesome.
to build a winning team. So that's huge. You have to have a GM that understands basketball, that has your vision. We have the same vision. We have the same purpose. We have the same goal for our team. So right now, it's a great feeling just to focus on basketball, focus on what we can do as a whole, as coaches, and as a coach, and connecting to the community, connecting to my players, and doing what we have to do in order to make his job easy and make ticket sales and all that stuff easy as well, marketing and stuff like that. So I'm enjoying just being a head coach right now.
Hey, that's amazing. Well, I'm excited for it. And as we all know, in my opinion, last year Greg knocked it out of the freaking park with that draft class. So if I was you, I wouldn't be complaining about it either. But Coach, we're so thankful for your time and very excited to see you with Team USA camp. And then hopefully in person during the WNBA season, we'll be able to chat a little bit. Maybe I'll get a deli in DC to
Perfect.
make you the sandwich, and I'll bring you your own.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Coach. You have a great one. All right.
All right. Much love. Bye.